What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope everyone is healthy and well today on this beautiful day. Hope your day was fulfilled with nothing but joy and positivity. All my new supporters joining the family for the first time, welcome. Can't forget about the new supporters. Today we'll be reacting to Canadians continue to demand a hard line on U.S. relations, polls suggest. Now this is updated. Now I believe they took a poll last year on Trump's administration. Oh my goodness, you guys weren't happy with the administration. You guys want them out for good. And you made that very clear. So let's go ahead and check out this poll. I already know how you guys feel. Like it's no surprise. There should be literally no surprises at all throughout this video. No, I think the last time we checked out the poll, it was like maybe I think it was like 58%. So with that, what is it, like 60? 8? I'm gonna say it doubled by like 10. It's definitely in the 60s or 70s. Yo, if you're telling me that 80% of Canadians is not rocking with the US, and this is longevity now. This is longevity we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is a no. Well, we forgive you, huh? Ain't no such thing as a strike. Canada's proving something different. They're going above and beyond. There is no word. Like, it's just, they're completely shutting us out. What's the word, should I say? Cutting us out? Blocking us off? I don't know. We got to think of a word, man. We got to think of a word. Let's jump right into this video.
We have some fresh insight today. We have some fresh insight today into how Canadians view the United States, and it's worse than you might expect. Angus Reid surveyed more than 1,600 people. Only 21% said they hold a favorable view of the U.S. Excuse me.
20. Oh, I can't wait to read the comments. Hey, 21% of Canadians still rocking with us, man. I told you, these is people that don't care. They don't go into the politics. They focus on themselves and their lives because, those people probably believe, well, who am I to let the politics determine my life and where I'm traveling? You know what I'm saying? And what I'm going to enjoy and do. We do have some people that don't really care about the country. They were just born there. They grew up there. They not really ride or die for the country now, But I'm not saying that's all 21%. Everybody got their own reasons, but 69%. Didn't I just say that? So I was right there in the middle. I said the 60s or 70s because last time we checked it out, it's 58%. 69% prefer Canada approach U.S. as a potential threat or with caution. Okay, 1,650 Canadians. I'm gonna keep it 100. 1,650 Canadians. That's not even a lot. But this, it still counts. Canadians surveyed, new low of 21% hold favorable view. Favorable though, but like, you can't just be throwing that word around, What do you mean by favorable? What do they enjoy? Just the sceneries, the states? States is beautiful to travel to, But like, I'm talking about straight up blatantly on your country. Talk about 51st and everything. Like, no respect. No respect, no mercy. Like, filling your hearts to be like, oh, now this is all right. I'm not gonna go no rant about this. Everybody got their own,
Under Donald Trump. That marks a new low. Meantime, 69% prefer that Canada approach the U.S. as a potential threat or with caution. And fewer than a quarter of respondents said they see our southern neighbor as a friend or ally. These numbers also have an impact on the federal political landscape.
Wait a minute. Low of 21 hold. Favorable view. Okay. 22% of respondents presently view U.S. as a friend or ally. A friend or ally of Canada out of all this stuff. Wait, out of all this stuff that's going on. So these people already know, they know what's going on, But out of all the stuff that's going on, they still think that we friends are allies? Nah. I told y'all. It's like, all right, I don't really want to go on an event, and explain one of my theories. But like, okay. Let's just keep it
friend or ally. These numbers also have an impact on the federal political landscape. To bring it all together, we've reached polling analyst Eric Grenier in Ottawa. You can follow his analysis on therit.ca. Eric, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about the hardening of views towards the United States. What do you think is causing it?
Well, it's pretty clear what's been causing it. It's Donald Trump and his attacks on Canada. We saw a spike in discontent with the United States and disapproval with President Trump early on last year. It was certainly a huge factor in the election campaign in April. And what is really fascinating about these numbers from the Angus Reid Institute is that we don't really see that opinion is softening the longer we get used to it. Just the fact that we see that 69% of Canadians say, or 67% I should say, that we should take a hard approach when it comes to our negotiations with the United States. That is really unchanged from where things were at the height of the disagreements between the Prime Minister and the President. So I do think that this is having a huge impact on Canadians' long-term views of the United States. I'm not so sure that this is a sign that this is going to be just a temporary thing that's going to go back to normal after Donald Trump is no longer the U.S. President.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, what if we have potential? What if he is out of office? And everybody that worked for him is out of office. And say that whoever is under Trump, whatever. Say his party don't win it all. And somebody else completely new comes in from a whole nother party. That y'all telling me like it goes back to normal? Because once there's a new president, everybody's kicked out of the White House. Man, get out. The whole thing get redecorated and everything overnight. I'm serious, like under 24 hours for the next president. Everything gotta go. So does that potentially mean the United States and the Canada relationship has potential? Hey now, wait a minute, because now I'm thinking. Or is it just like and then like no. Like no. Because at the same time, you gotta think about it. It's the Americans that voted for this man. Now, you can't really put it on them 100%. Because let's keep it 100. You guys know I'm going to keep it 100. Those people didn't know Trump's intentions. We're learning a lot of stuff about him in our world, should I say. A lot of stuff getting uncovered. A lot of stuff. If you know, you know. It's like so we don't know his intentions. We don't know what he be doing. He be doing stuff behind the Congress, the government's back. He don't tell nobody he'll probably don't even tell his own wife. You know what I'm saying? He be doing stuff on his own time, whenever he feel like. So nobody knows what is on his mind. The people that voted for Trump, they don't know what's on that man's mind. But they are part of the blame. I'm gonna keep it 100. They are part of the blame because most of those people don't know politics. They don't know what's going on. Or a lot of people vote for a person because they like their personality or the swag and all that type of stuff. A lot of people voted for him because they said he was a businessman. Trump is a businessman. He has this business. He ran this business. He did that business. All right. So, and what did they consider America as? Business. They said, and what do we need in this world? This world runs around what? Business. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And look where that got us. Business. He went the whole world now. Oh my gosh. But the people that voted, they are part of the blame. Yes. Yes, that is very true. That is very true. But we do have potential. We do have potential. And maybe Americans will actually educate themselves. Maybe learn more about who they are voting for. Because the same people that voted for this man done switched up and they talking about him now. They bashing him or they going against what he said. And All right, be quiet. Be quiet. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. It's the same people, man, that don't let their kids vote for them because they couldn't make a decision. Like, oh, piss me off. Don't go back on what you did now. Don't go back with your vote now because it ain't going your way and you got to pay for it now. It ain't in your favor no more, huh? That's what I be saying. Like,
Has had a huge impact, as you mentioned, on voting intentions, on views of the prime minister, and on the political climate here in Canada.
You know, I mean, the president first mused about Canada as a 50.
Head back to normal after Donald Trump is no longer the U.S. president. And it has had a huge impact, as you mentioned, on voting intentions, on views of the prime minister, and on the political climate here in Canada.
You know, I mean, the president first mused about Canada as the 51st state more than a year ago. Do you think we're seeing a long-term trend? And does it get impacted not just by what Trump has to say about Canada, but, for instance, the U.S. Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer, saying Canada just needs to accept that there will be a tariff. This is a free trade deal that he signed.
hold on. Let me hear that. I think I seen that. I think I heard that. Hold on.
Term trend. And 51st state more than a year ago. Do you think we're seeing a long-term trend? And does it get impacted not just by what Trump has to say about Canada, but, for instance, the U.S. Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer?
Yes, the U.S. Trade Representative. Yes. I actually did see that. He said Canada just needs to accept more tariffs or some craziness like that. I'm like, whoa. Saying some craziness about Canada should just give in. Just accept it.
Saying Canada just needs to accept that there will be a tariff. This is a free trade deal that he signed, in his first term.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the entire government apparatus that is taking its cue from Donald Trump. And I think it is having an impact on Canadian views of the United States. And it isn't just that relationship with the president, because as you mentioned, it is impacting our trade relation with the United States. So it's impacting Canadians' views of how much they can trust the United States to be a good trading partner in the future. We've seen polls suggesting that Canadians are much more supportive of increased spending on defense, which is, again, a response to the moves from the United States, the questions about the 51st state, but also, I don't know how else to say, but the shakedown we've heard that if we don't buy the jets from the United States, that we could get some repercussions. So I think this is all combining to.
Man, it's so much safer. I could definitely see Canada investing more into their military rather than investing into the U.S. by visiting and this and that and crossing tolls and doing business as far as trade and all that. Nah, I mean, there's no benefit in that. And as far as the threats, talk about you don't purchase this and that, even though it is good jets, not for nothing, it is good jets. It all comes down to who else can serve, who else can sell you those type of jets, Who else has those type of jets within their country available to even see on display? And if you could do deals with them, then that's great. But see, the hard part is, what if it's an enemy rather than an ally? Because Carney's been doing the unpredictable. I don't want to say the impossible, because if it was impossible, it wouldn't be done. It wouldn't be happening. But the unpredictable, the relationships and the stuff he's been gaining over the time, like that man is a respectable man. You don't got to be rude. You don't got to be arrogant, big and bad. Gotta be tough. You don't got to be none of that. That man is respectable. And that just goes to show what being nice and respectable. You don't got to fear nobody, but respect all. How far that will get you in life. How far that will get you in life. I respect the man. Word up. What is Canada going to do as far as buying those jets, though? Are we looking at another country, or are there still some trading deals that are still just going to happen, because the U.S. has it, It's like, all right, we don't got to mess with you guys, but we'll purchase this. That's it. Yet again, that gives the U.S. money Are you guys being so strict? That's like, man, we don't even want to buy it because then that's money for the U.S. No. Oh, let me know in the comments. Yo, I feel like it's really like that. That's the main reason. Plus, there's other jets out there. There's a newer jet that we was looking at, but I feel like, it's not as, when it comes to war, the older the
Supportive
money,
of
better.
increased spending on defense, which is again a response to the moves from the United States, the questions about the 51st state, but also put it in, I don't know how else to say it, but the shakedown, we've heard that if we don't buy the jets from the United States, that we could get some repercussions. So I think this is all combining to have a real impact on Canadians' views of the United States. The numbers we've seen are the lowest they've been. And we've also seen from some other pollsters questions regarding whether Canadians believe that things will get better after there's a change in the White House. A lot of Canadians do think that things will get better, but they'll never get back to where they were. And so this has been a tough year for.
Well, yet again, that's like I said, because even if Trump's out of office, I feel like the Canadians might judge the people still because y'all voted for the man. You know what I'm saying? So they probably looking a little sideways at the people that live within the states now, rather than Trump if he's out of office and the government or administration that was with him. The people that was working within the government, nah, they out of there. They're not representing no more. They gone with them, you know? I feel like the thoughts will never go away. The relationship will never be the same, but I do feel like sooner or later Canadians will start coming back and everything will start flowing again, but people will have in the back of their head, they will remember this forever. And not for nothing, look at us Americans a little, huh? You know, even if they don't know who we voted for, they might off the rip.
Things will get better, but they'll never get back to where they were. And so this has been a tough year for those U.S.-Canadian relations, but I would not be surprised if it ends up being a tough many years, and it could outlast Donald Trump.
Yeah, a lot of people feel as though the trust has been broken, but
Why would you make such a statement? Damn. Why would you make such a statement? It could outlast Donald Trump.
Many years, and it could outlast Donald Trump.
And keeping it real.
A lot of people feel as though the trust has been broken potentially for a very long time. Let's talk about the federal landscape now, because that Angus Reid poll suggested Canadians view Prime Minister Mark Carney favorably almost a year into his term. The president only mentioned Canada.
A year into his term, because Mark Carney was putting on. He was working, getting things done, going head up against Trump, outsmarting him in every single way. Especially at these speeches. Boy, Trump made it so easy. I mean, I'm looking at his credentials and like what Carney studied, where he went to school, what he was like, and come on now. That man is very intellectual. There was no way of schooling him out there. What? With smack talk and everything, or manipulating him, or bullying him in any sort of way. He wasn't going for that.
Almost a year into his term. The president only mentioned Canada once last night in passing, and it was regarding the men's Olympic hockey team. If he talks less about his ambitions for Canada, his annexation threats, does it help or hurt one party more than the other?
I think that we've seen over the last year that the more that Donald Trump in the United States is in the news here in Canada, the better the polling numbers have been for the Liberals. Even when we're thinking about the last campaign in April 2025, the few weeks where Donald Trump receded to the background were the best weeks for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. We've seen in poll after poll that Canadians feel Mark Carney is the best person to handle that relationship. There's a polling by Abacus Data that found that among those who rank Donald Trump or the U.S. administration as one of their top issues, the Liberals have more than a 40-point lead over the Conservatives. On issues like cost of living and the economy, it's more or less neck and neck. But this is really the thing that differentiates the two parties. So the more that there is a focus on Donald Trump, the better things tend to be for Mark Carney and the Liberals. And we've been seeing that in a few polls lately, where the margin between the Liberals and the Conservatives has gone from a few points to now double digits in a lot of these surveys, including this latest one from the Angus Reid Institute.
Let's talk a little bit about that, Eric, because the difference is, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Mark Carney's favorability was, 20 and 30 points ahead of Pierre Poilievre as preferred prime minister. But there's a new trend in recent polls where we're seeing the Liberals doing much better than the Conservatives, right? Whereas before, the two parties were tied.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lagging indicator. We had seen that Mark Carney was preferred over Pierre Poilievre as prime minister. We saw that his approval ratings, his positive ratings for Mark Carney were far better than Pierre Poilievre. And we weren't seeing the same sort of thing happening in the voting intentions, where even if we did see double-digit leads for Mark Carney over Pierre Poilievre, it was a very smaller lead for the Liberals over the Conservatives. But there does seem to have been a shift over the last few weeks, particularly after the speech in Davos, but I would say especially over the last couple of weeks, where not only have the Liberals been inching up, we've seen some polls now having them at around 45%, which is above what they had in the last election, but we've also seen the Conservatives start to slide. So now we're starting to see more and more polls that have them at 35 or lower. So it is having a big impact on voting intentions in Canada. And if there was an election today, I don't think there would be much of a doubt that the Liberals would get the majority they failed to get last year.
Eric, thank you. Eric Grenier of The Writ joining us live from Ottawa.
Y'all feel free to share your honest thoughts, comments, and opinions down below in the comment section, please. Feel free to educate me as well on anything else that has been going on between the U.S. and Canada. I'm not even being arrogant. It's to the point where I catch up so much throughout the day, even when I'm not recording, that I pretty much know everything that is going on between us right now. Even the stuff that we haven't really reacted to yet. I'm saying yet because I probably will get to it. Just out of my own interest, depending how you guys feel. But there are some videos that I sometimes react to out of my own interest, not really caring about the views, but more so pushing it out there for my audience, for my beautiful supporters. Maybe you get a chance to learn something for the first time about your country that you didn't know before. Like, straight up, it's possible, at any age, any day, any time. But please, guys, flood the comment section. Thank you so much for joining me today. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn all post notifications on. Follow the Twitch and all my other YouTube channels in the description down below as well. I love you all. Stay safe. Thank you so much for joining me today to react to Canadians continue to demand a hard line on U.S. relations. Polls suggest. We're going to continue to stay updated with this. Let's see what it jumps to in like a month. If it's in like the 70s, like the mid-high 70s, oh my gosh. Goodness. Let's just hope we can recover eventually once Trump is out of office. You know what I'm saying? There's no telling. There's no telling. But let's just hope. Seriously. Because at this point, I think it's going to come to a certain point in time where it's like there is no United States of America. Like, eventually the country can't even afford itself. Ain't that possible? I be having like, daydreams and stuff. Maybe I'm thinking of the impossible, but is it possible?